Hey, what's up everybody? My name is Jose and welcome to my channel where I share my reactions to all news regarding sports. The ultimate goal of mine is to analyze sports while also sharing my thoughts and opinions with others who share a similar passion for sports. With the 2022 NFL season beginning on September 8th, each week we will take a look at every respective division in terms of where it has been and where it currently stands. Not only does this give us an opportunity to reflect on its historical significance, but it also allows us a chance to take a peek at what the season has in store for us. In this week's video, we'll take a look at the AFC North, which has been widely known to be a two-team division between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Baltimore Ravens. However, in recent years, that has not always been the case. These past few seasons, the Cleveland Browns and Cincinnati Bengals have made strides towards being more competitive as franchises, with the Bengals even appearing in this past season's Super Bowl. Historically speaking, the AFC North has been controlled by the six-time Super Bowl champion, Pittsburgh Steelers. Their dominance of the division has been on full display since the early 1970s, as Terry Bradshaw and the Steel Curtain reigned supreme with 6 AFC Championship appearances, resulting in 4 Super Bowl appearances, and ultimately 4 Super Bowl victories. But as the Steelers began to take a step back from the pinnacle of the NFL, the Cleveland Browns emerged as a quality contender in the late 1980s, as they would fall one game short of the Super Bowl appearance, not once, not twice, but 3 times in 1986, 87, and 89, as the Denver Broncos defeated them in those 3 AFC Championship appearances. Since then, the Browns would only make the playoffs on 3 occasions. The first 2 would result in them being eliminated by the Steelers in 94 and in 2002. It was during this time that the Browns struggled to achieve any level of success, as they became recognized as a destination of revolving quarterbacks. It would reach the point where they would have to relocate to Baltimore in 1996, thus becoming the Ravens, where it would not take too long for them to experience success, as they would eventually win Super Bowl 35 just 4 seasons later, with contributions from the legendary 2000s Ravens defense, led by Hall of Famer linebacker Ray Lewis. From this point on, the AFC North produced one of the all-time fiercest rivalries within the NFL. The Baltimore Ravens and Pittsburgh Steelers would become must-see television, as their battles would be among the most physical and competitive throughout the next decade. Between 2004 and 2012, the 2 franchises would appear in 6 AFC championships and 4 Super Bowls. The Steelers would win Super Bowl 40 and 43, while the Ravens emerged victorious in Super Bowl 47. These 2 franchises have competed against each other on 56 occasions, with the rivalry currently standing at 32-24 in favor of the Steelers. Now let's take a step back from the Steelers and Ravens, shall we? Because since the Ravens appeared in Super Bowl 47, the division has begun to evolve. After relocating to Baltimore, a new Cleveland Browns franchise was developed in order to continue the tradition of football in Ohio. After suffering 2 decades of being among the worst franchises in sports and seemingly the laughingstock of the NFL, for quite some time the Cleveland Browns were synonymous for the multitude of quarterbacks they had at their starting position. Names such as Tim Couch, Trent Dilfer, Colt McCoy, Brian Hoyer, Johnny Manziel, and Robert Griffin III were among the many men to earn the distinction of the starting quarterback of the Cleveland Browns. But in 2018, their fortunes began to change as they selected Oklahoma quarterback Baker Mayfield. Proving to be among the most productive quarterbacks the Browns had seen for nearly 3 decades, Mayfield and the newly drafted defensive end Myles Garrett seemed poised to make some noise throughout the division. While the Browns enjoyed their stay at the bottom of the division for the course of 2 decades, the Cincinnati Bengals would make several playoff appearances under head coach Marvin Lewis and veteran quarterback Andy Dalton. However, they were unable to make it out of the wildcard round on 7 different occasions. Unable to make the next leap in contention, the division was continued to be led by Pittsburgh and Baltimore. After Super Bowl 47, it would be 9 years until a representative from the AFC North would emerge from the American Football Conference, and it could be said that many were surprised it was not Pittsburgh, Baltimore, or the new upstart Browns. No, instead it would be the Cincinnati Bengals, who had not made a Super Bowl appearance in Super Bowl 23. In fact, they had not won a playoff game in nearly 3 decades until Joe Burrow and company did so this past season. And now that we're caught up on that brief history lesson, let's take a quick look at the state of these 4 franchises. Starting with those Cincinnati Bengals, who emerged as division champions for the 10th time with a record of 10-7 last year, falling 1 game short of lifting the Lombardi Trophy. With starting quarterback Joe Burrow returning for his 3rd season, he, along with former LSU teammate Jamar Chase, hoped to add another productive season under their belt. At the conclusion of their 2021 campaign, many questioned the capabilities of Cincinnati's offensive line as they were blamed for their Super Bowl defeat just as they were in 2020 for Burrow's unfortunate ACL injury. An argument could be made that had the offensive line held on just a little longer during the final play of the Super Bowl, Burrow may have been able to heave one last throw in hopes of a miraculous victory. However, we can leave that up to speculation, as that was not the case. Instead, the Bengals set out on acquiring talent that would benefit their offensive line as they signed La'el Collins, former tackle for the Dallas Cowboys, as well as New England center Ted Karras and Tampa Bay's guard Alex Kappa. Cincinnati led the league in sacks last season as Joe Burrow would suffer 51 sacks from opposing defenses, something the Bengals surely would like to prevent from repeating this upcoming season. Cincinnati would also sign former Atlanta tight end Hayden Hurst to a one-year deal in order to help bolster their offensive firepower. In the draft, they would select Daxton Hill, a safety out of Michigan, with the 31st pick in the draft. In that same draft, they would also select a cornerback, defensive tackle, and then offensive tackle as well. With this revamped offense, Burrow and company hope to use this as momentum to propel themselves back into contention. With Chase having a breakout rookie season by contributing nearly 1,500 yards receiving as well as 13 touchdown receptions, there is no telling what he and Burrow could achieve with another season together. Although the Bengals have been a relatively quiet franchise, they are still laying the foundation for what they hope will be a bright future for head coach Zach Taylor and others. In 2021, the Cincinnati Bengals went 4-2 within their own division, with their only two losses being to the Cleveland Browns, as they were outscored 62-32. Meanwhile, against the Steelers and Ravens, they outscored their opponents 147-61 between 4 games. One thing to recognize is the trend that each team that loses a Super Bowl faces, as they are seemingly a Super Bowl hangover that prevents them from returning to the biggest game of the season. Can the Bengals stay healthy enough, and will they be able to continue to compete at a high level versus the rest of the league, now that they are recognized for their talent and potential? Where one team relies on potential, there is another that relies on its reputation. The Pittsburgh Steelers are a proven franchise with championship pedigree, beginning with their head coach Mike Tomlin. As Pittsburgh's head coach, Mike Tomlin has appeared in 2 Super Bowls and has never suffered a losing season, and he plans to continue this trend heading into 2022 with eyes on a 25th division title. With quarterback Ben Roethlisberger retiring last season, the Pittsburgh Steelers are left wondering who will fill in and take his place. Is it an individual who has been with the team for a few seasons now in Mason Rudolph, who has already become a fan favorite in Cleveland? Is it a young quarterback looking to defend his name and build a legacy of his own after struggling as a Chicago Bear in Mitchell Trubisky? Or perhaps it is the rookie, recognized as a hometown favorite due to his time at the University of Pittsburgh, and searching for an opportunity to prove himself as the next great Steeler in the form of Kenny Pickett. These Pittsburgh Steelers finished 9-7-1 and made an appearance in last year's playoffs, falling to the Chiefs, but with returning stars such as Najee Harris, Chase Claypool, Cameron Hayward, Devin Bush Jr., Minkah Fitzpatrick, and TJ Watt, they look to improve as a team in order to reach the mountaintop once again. With a league-best 55 sacks last season, the Pittsburgh Steelers defense has become a reliable asset to a storied franchise known for its defense. And as they look to reload their offense, one must ask the question, how much longer until they return to championship form? But before the Steelers can reach the postseason, they must first endure their annual battles with those Baltimore Ravens. Looking to continue to build upon their already stacked roster, former MVP Lamar Jackson and his men look to avenge a disappointing 2021 season that saw them lose 6 straight games to end the year with an 8-9 record. This past offseason, these Ravens would lose wide receiver Sammy Watkins to the Packers, as well as Hollywood Brown via trade with the Arizona Cardinals. For a team that has struggled to find a true number 1 receiver, these moves left many puzzled, as Jackson's best target remains all-pro tight end Mark Andrews, with little to no supporting cast. However, their offense has always been a run-heavy attack with effective rushers such as Gus Edwards, J.K. Dobbins, and Lamar Jackson leading the charge. Their main focus in the draft was on the defensive side of the ball, as 5 of their first 6 selections were on the defense. With a defense that already has Kyle Fuller, Marcus Peters, and Marlon Humphrey in the secondary, as well as a young emerging star in Patrick Queen in the middle, these Baltimore Ravens look to improve upon an otherwise mediocre showing in 2021. Finally, the AFC North has garnered much attention due to the offseason the Cleveland Browns have experienced. Finishing last season with a record of 8-9, many question what was the reason for these Browns' struggles to return to the playoffs after securing a spot the previous year. Their quarterback Baker Mayfield played through injuries in the latter part of the season, leading to an inconsistent offense that struggled to find its rhythm. Mayfield is now faced with an interesting form of adversity in the form of competition within the roster. Feeling that he has not received the level of support that he has earned as the number 1 pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, Baker Mayfield has made it known his relationship with the front office is anything but smooth. Many speculated whether or not they would trade Mayfield, and rumors did not cease when they made the blockbuster trade of the summer, sending 3 first-round picks, 2 fourth-round picks, and a third-round pick to the Houston Texans in exchange for Deshaun Watson. This trade would send shockwaves across the league as Watson faces numerous allegations for his behavior off the field. It became clear that the Cleveland Browns expected to seek their services of another quarterback in the near future. With a talented roster that includes Pro Bowl running back Nick Chubb, as well as defensive standouts such as Jadeveon Clowney and Myles Garrett, those within the Cleveland Browns organization believed it was the quarterback position they needed to address. This past season demonstrated the Browns' strength in the run game as Nick Chubb rushed for nearly 1,300 yards. Can he continue this level of productivity along with the addition of Amari Cooper to help through the air? The Browns are faced with another difficult question as they must ask themselves, who will be the starting quarterback? Will it be Mayfield, who has already voiced his frustrations in the past, or Watson, who may very well face a sizable suspension as a result of these allegations? And throughout all this controversy, there is a wildcard, Jacoby Brissett. The newly signed veteran quarterback has started for Indianapolis and Miami in the past. Will he add Cleveland to his resume? A team with such potential and has little to show for it, but with a defense ranked 5th in the NFL and the surrounding storylines concerning its key position, these Browns remain a team to watch this upcoming season. For the first time in years, it feels as if the division is completely wide open for the taking, but we will have to wait just a couple more months until we see the action unfold on the gridiron. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like, share it with other sports fans, and subscribe to the channel. Also, be sure to support my weekly podcast, 2 Beans in a Pod, where every Friday my brother Jared and I discuss topics regarding sports, movies, and just pop culture in general. You can find the link to the podcast down below in the description, on Spotify, or wherever you find your podcasts. Don't forget to comment down below who you think will win the AFC North this year, or who you think will actually become the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. And as always, my name is Jose, and I'll catch you in the next video.